Hello again, everybody. Zagatech is here with my WWE Raw review for tonight, Monday, May the 6th, 2013. Of course, Raw was live tonight in Canada, Star City, whatever you call it. And with both of tonight's Raw, a mixed bag tonight. We had a match made for Extreme Rules that I kind of predicted. Stipulation made to a match at Extreme Rules, which actually started off Raw, plus a invasion of sorts of the WWE headquarters by Brock Lesnar to send a message to Triple H. But we had some okay matches, like some decent action tonight, especially one match I really thought was pretty good. The ending was kind of screwed, but I think it kind of built up towards the match that the match was building, that the one-on-one match was building for the pay-per-view. It was okay, it was more like building up for Extreme Rules. A lot of segments tonight. So it's okay, Wall. Not the best, but, it's 3-hour Walls. What can you say? Alright, let's kick things off with the stipulation of a match that I mentioned. That a match stipulation has been made for Extreme Rules. Involving, of course, the WWE Champion, John Cena, and Ryback. Yes, despite the injury, John Cena is really indeed going to be wrestling Ryback. I think WWE's plan is to leave Cena out of action. I think that's what WWE's plan is, to not let Cena wrestle for the next couple weeks. At least let the injury heal and further investigate it. Hopefully it's not really serious enough for the match to be canceled. Well, especially the stipulation that was made. And Cena's been injured before stipulation match before. This same stipulation, which I'll tell further story in a moment. So Cena's come out to start off Raw. I was fearing he was going to kick off Raw, because we saw what happened last week with the whole Ryback situation. Ryback walking out on Cena before the scheduled tag match, leaving Cena to team up with Team Hell No against the Shield. And Cena fought off, despite the injury, he still lost. He fought with, I think Cena did admit that yes, he knew wrestling with the injury was a bad decision on Raw last week. He made some silly jokes about him and Betty White and DTF, Do the Fandango. DTF means some sort of sexual thing, but I don't know what that means. Anyway, so Cena's saying like blah 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 blah. I'm not a doctor or a lawyer. I'm a WWE superstar, and hood or not, I will be in Extreme Rules to fight Ryback for the title. And they hear that screeching voice we all know and love to hate. Vicky Guerrero comes screaming out, saying that Extreme Rules is a night of being extreme. We got the triple threat ladder match with Alberto Del Rio, Ziggler, Dolph Ziggler, and Jack Swagger for the whatever championship. Triple H and Lesnar in the steel cage. And I was very surprised it took this long to name a stipulation for Cena and Ryback. And Vicky Guerrero's like, Cena, before I name the stipulation, I want the input of both the competitors of the match, the champion and the challenger. So Ryback came out and basically said Ryback rules. We got Hulk rules, then we got Ryback rules. Ryback's like, Cena, you may have torn your Achilles heel on your body, but your Achilles heel when it comes to what is your weakness is your ego. Amen to that, Ryback. It is Cena's ego. Super Cena ego. Anyway, Ryback blah 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 about things, and Cena was the first to be the guy that suggested the stipulation. And Cena's like, I don't care the stipulation. All I care about is getting in that ring and fighting Ryback, no matter what match it is. And Ryback had the choice of stipulation now, since Cena inadvertently gave the stipulation option to Ryback. And Ryback is using the stipulation match that is most useful to him in this situation with Cena being injured and with him not being able to stand on his own 2 feet. How about being in a match where the objective is to knock your opponent so senselessly that he won't get up to a 10 count? Of course, I'm referring to the last man standing. Now, I mentioned in the beginning of the video that Cena has been injured before a last man standing match before. Let me refresh all your memories. What was it? No Mercy, 2007, in October. At the time, John Cena had his longest win as WWE Champion, holding the title for at least a year. Going on to a year at the time. On a Raw before No Mercy, before his scheduled last man standing match against Randy Orton, he got injured during the match against Mr. Anderson. Kennedy at the time. After a hip toss went wrong and he tore his pectoral muscle. Of course, for those of you who've been watching my YouTube videos since I've been posting slideshow videos since 2007, I posted, of course, a slideshow video. I mentioned this on a previous Attack Line on my Raw review last week, that I made a video when Cena got injured before last man standing match last time, when Cena's not the champion. That video's still up, as I mentioned. So, is Cena going to get injured before a last man standing match again, like he did in 07 and then forfeit the title again? I thought he was going to do it last week. He's still confident he's going to be able to make it for the pay-per-view. But will he be able, especially his history of missing last man standing matches due to injury before? Like I said, he missed the last man standing match in 2007 and then forfeit the title against Randy Orton at No Mercy, which led towards a weird, screwy situation. I remember that pay-per-view was screwy with Triple H beating Orton in the beginning. Orton was given the championship because he ended the fight scene. It's a long story. So we'll see if Cena will be able to make the last man standing match, unlike the last man standing match he missed against Orton at No Mercy 07. So there you go. Stipulation match made for Cena Ryback at Extreme Rules would be the last man standing match. Later on, Ryback would be confronted by Daniel Bryan, who ordered a rematch from SmackDown. But Kane, knowing that Daniel Bryan got attacked by the Shield last week, took the match himself. So a main event would be Ryback against Randy Orton. Ryback against Kane. Actually, I said Randy Orton's name, because Randy Orton kicked off Raw's first bit of action as he took on Damien Sandow. Last week, of course, Orton defeated one half of Rhodes Scholars, Cody Rhodes. Now this week, he gets Sandow. And Sandow sang a little song before Orton came out. And it was a, weird singing. So anyway, Orton came out and he basically dominated Sandow over the match. Of course, Sandow tried to fight his way back, including, of course, trying to do the elbow to stain, but I don't think he never had a chance to do the elbow to stain despite his best efforts. Orton tried, of course, his famous 3 moves of doom, beating him out of the outside. It was kind of a quick matchup. It was an okay matchup, just decent opener. And Sandow took control later on, but of course, like I say, he was probably trying to do the elbow to stain, but never got to. His own, indeed, got the clotheslines in, drop kicks in, and of course, nailed the 2 moves of Orton Doom, the Hangman DDT off the middle rope, and of course, after a block by Sandow, nailed the RKO and a 1-2-3 victory for Randy Orton. But as Orton was celebrating, the camera kind of missed it, but Big Show came out after the match and knocked out Orton. The camera didn't exactly get when Orton got knocked out, but we saw Orton knocked out by Big Show at the ramp. Of course, continuing their feud. Another match I think is going to be made. It wasn't made officially for Extreme Rules, but I bet you next week, or maybe on SmackDown this week, Orton and Big Show for Extreme Rules will be made. So we'll see when that match will be made. I bet you that match will happen at Extreme Rules, Big Show, and Randy Orton. Now on to our second match, which involved Fandango. He took on R-Truth. Before we got to the match, Chris Jericho was, of course, back from his tour with Fozzy, or whatever the heck he was doing, came to Raw and said, well, Fandango, you want to judge me? Well, I'm going to judge you. You lost to Kali in a dancing contest? Well, I'm going to dance you next week. It was made later on in the evening that Jericho will be dancing off against Fandango next week. But till then, Jericho's decided to have his own judging. He decided to have his own little judging booth with Brodus Clay and Tenzai, Sweet Tea, whatever you want to call him, judging Fandango's performance against R-Truth. And at the end of the match, I saw Jericho with a 0. That was the rating of this match. Kind of a silly match, silly ending. It's not exactly a match, it's more like a freaking segment. And R-Truth came in like a house of fire, trying for his big moves and his big, his big shakes. But the Fandango came flying back. And indeed, overpowering Fandango got controlled by R-Truth. R-Truth took control, at least for the short lane of this matchup, as R-Truth was being dominant and being attacked by the Fandango and out dancing Fandango to his chagrin, with Jericho and Brodus Clay and Tenzai judging R-Truth high and judging Fandango low, like they were Len Goodman's. Fandango laugh got counted out. And like I mentioned, Jericho, I saw in a scorecard after the countout, he had a 0. Basically, like I said, that was the match rating. A 0. It was just nothing. It was just a short. It was, like I said, it wasn't even a match. It was just a segment. At least kind of build up Jericho and Fandango's feud. Another match that I think is going to be made at Extreme Rules. Especially after what happens with this dance-off next week. I bet you something will happen during that dance-off. Something physical is going to happen. And is it just me, or did Fandango switch his dance partner again? He had the Brown last week. Now he's got a new partner this week. So he's switching partners more than AJ does. AJ switched partners off and on. AJ switched partners a lot in the last year. First dating Daniel Bryan, then flirting with Kane, flirting with Punk, and now flirting with, of course, the World Heavyweight Champion, Dolph Ziggler. And speak of the devil, our next match involves the World Champion, Dolph Ziggler, taking on a WWE non-title match. Now, if you can call anything on Raw interesting tonight, especially after the first 2 matches, this is probably the only really good match of Raw tonight. Pretty good action from these 2 guys. Very exciting matchup, actually. This is Alberto and Ziggler's first real match, one-on-one. Non-title, though, because when Ziggler cashed in Money in the Bank, it wasn't much of a match. Even though Alberto did fight back at first. And of course, it never had the proper one-on-one rematch for the title because Swagger got involved, like he did in this match as well. And of course, putting himself in the title picture, that's where we are with this triple threat ladder match. Thanks to Alberto getting the stipulation naming after Okada won a match against Big E and Zeb Coulter last week on Raw. So the match was kind of back and forth action. Very good. There were some really good spots in this match, including that insane move up the top rope by Alberto and Ziggler when Alberto kind of like a reverse suplex. That was kind of cool. Kind of a cool little spot there. Neil towards match was kind of course, Alberto focusing on the cross-arm breaker, weakening the arm. And midway towards the match, as Alberto was dominating all over the world champion, Jack Swagger came out. Like I mentioned, Swagger would get someone involved with Zeb Coulter. I thought AJ would get more involved in the match. She did kind of get involved during the break and also got involved midway towards the ending of the match. The match was cool. The ending was kind of screwy. But at least the ending kind of built up towards the match, which I'll explain in a moment. As indeed, Ziggler was trying to fight back, including dominating all over the moves, especially Ziggler. Big man Big E almost got into a confrontation with Zeb Coulter when they first came out. So the Alberto tries his big kicks. Ziggler blocks it, and even blocked the croissant breaker attempt. And like I said, the sick face first suplex. That was, like I said, one of my favorites. Probably the best spot in the matchup. And indeed, Alberto kept flying back, including, of course, his touchable backbreaker and, of course, his big kick. And indeed, he got the croissant breaker locked in. And as Alberto was seemingly going to make the champ tap out, AJ distracted the referee. And AJ, while distracting the referee, Big E Langston, they came in, pulled Alberto out of the ring, then rammed him against Jack Swagger, who was at ringside, making this a disqualification. Then Swagger beat the crap out of Big E Langston, taking him out. And then Jack Swagger pulled out a ladder. Now, this is why I say the ending, although it's kind of a count-out DQ finish, kind of a bad way to finish this awesome match. At least the aftermatch kind of built up the ladder matches. Swagger pulled out a ladder, started nailing everybody, minus AJ with it. He nailed Big E with it. He nailed Ricardo with it, nailing him to the barricade. He nailed Alberto with it. He even nailed Ziggler with it. With Swagger being the last man standing. The only thing they needed to do was to put the championship up on the air and make Swagger climb the ladder. Of course, all three of these guys are former Money in the Bank winners, ladder match winners, so they know what it takes to win a ladder match. So Swagger stood tall in this situation. So there you go. Ziggler's and Alberto ended in a no contest with, of course, Big E Langston getting involved, Swagger getting involved a little bit, especially nailing everybody with a ladder, building up the triple threat ladder match. Should be a great match. At Extreme Rules should be a great ladder match. These three guys are going to put on a good show. Probably going to be the match of the night, in my opinion. So there you go. Swagger stands tall after nailing everybody with the ladder. Now on to our next scenario, which indeed involved the Shield being involved in six-man action. Now I thought that the Shield was going to take on 3MB. because B&B has been challenging the Shield for weeks. But no, it was the Usos teaming up with the United States champion, Kofi Kingston. Now, it's just me, or is every Shield match in the last couple weeks has been the same scenario? Watch this match, then watch the match last week with the Shield against Cena and Hell No, and watch the match between Shield against Taker and Bryan Kane. All three of those matches started the same and ended the same. It's just different teams, same match. The face team isolated the Shield at first, being a crap out of the Shield at first, going right at them, isolating them in their corner. And then the Shield gets a quick way to get advantage, like goes for a quick move, and gets advantage to their side, and they isolate the faces in their corner. In this case, being a crap out of one of the Usos, isolating with hot quick tags, isolating with triple team moves, and then the face team member, which will be Uso, get the hot tag to Kofi Kingston. Kingston would come in like a house of fire, but despite the last minute rally from the faces, the Shield would find a way to distract the referee and to get the victory. Kofi did have the Trouble in Paradise in focus. He did deliver the boom job on Ambrose at one point. He was ready to do the big Trouble in Paradise. But indeed, Rollins and Ambrose, actually Rollins and Reigns got involved. And of course, the Usos trying to take care of Rollins and Reigns, but then the Usos got taken out by Rollins and Reigns. Kofi was going for a big top rope move. Referee got distracted by Reigns, and Rollins tossed off Kofi. And then Ambrose went for his little headlock move, his little driver move, his little finishing move. I don't know what the name of that is. 1, 2, 3. The Shield wins. So, like I said, it's the same match. I'm not complaining, though. I'm just making you notice that every match the Shield's been in the last 3 weeks, the last 3 weeks of six-man tags have started the same and the same. Faces dominate over the Shield for the first half, isolating them in their corner. Then Shield returns a favor. And then the faces try to make a comeback, and the Shield finds a way to win. Cheap way, whether it's suspected referee or not. So, there you go. I'm not complaining about the matches between the Shield and six-man tags being the same. I'm just like making you notice it. So there you go. Shield wins, decent match, despite, like I said, being the same as the last two six-man tags in the last 2 weeks with the Shield involved. But I can say this, the Shield is dominant. I think the Shield is a dominant team. They're a decent team. I hated the storyline in the beginning, but I think they're really dominant. Now, they got some decent teamwork. Can you only imagine what they would be like if WWE pushes them well when the Shield breaks up? Makes them solo stars. Look what happened with the Nexus. You know, the only big star there was Daniel Bryan. He became world champion. Wade Barrett became IC champion. Randy, Heath Slater's now a jobber for life. Darren Young, of course, primetime player. Skip Sheffield, a.k.a. Ryback. So there you go. See what the Shield does when they break up. See what solo success they have when they break up. And don't be like Justin Gabriel or Heath Slater. More like Ryback and Wade and Daniel. Now in our next match, kind of a squash of the week for Zack Ryder. Well, two guys who like to sing. Zack Ryder likes to sing pop songs like Justin Bieber and Backstreet Boys. And of course, his opponent, the former United States champion Antonio Cesaro, likes to yodel like hee-hoo. Not a good yodeler, but anyway. I think Cesaro's yodeling things bring him down, but he did get another win tonight. Ryder, of course, in his typical squash move, tried to fight his way in a decent match against Cesaro, but of course Cesaro got the big uppercut in as Ryder was ready to go for the Broski boot. But after the uppercut, there, the neutralizer from Cesaro, 1, 2, 3, Cesaro wins. Not happy about the competition, wanting more better competition, especially for the United States Championship again against Kofi, even though he lost the rematch last week during main event. So we'll see what Cesaro goes from here. You know, he's basically down at the bottom again. We'll see if Cesaro gets another shot at the U.S. Championship, or better yet, push for the WWE Championship when Ryback's done. Who knows? Now, of course, our next segment, which was a segment that was teased throughout the evening. And I read about this all day long, about the WWE having this invasion storyline with Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar crashing the WWE headquarters and trashing Triple H's office and having Paul Heyman tape it. Now, from what I've just read on several wrestling sites, especially WrestleZone.com, reported saying that this segment with Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar was taped on Friday. And everyone was secretive about the footage being shot on Friday, and they like posted everything like it was happening then and there on Monday. So it looked like it was happening then and there on Monday afternoon at noon when Paul Heyman started training, but indeed it was already planned out. It was already taped on Friday. So the segment, you had Paul Heyman saying some like out of character phrases. They weren't character though, but they said like things like they're in Triple H's office, they saw a sledgehammer there, and they saw a championship belt. There's a championship belt that Brock will never have as long as Triple H is in control. Well, Brock Lesnar was a former champion once. We'll see if Brock Lesnar will ever be champion again. But I almost agree with Heyman that Brock Lesnar will never be champion again. But if a part-timer like The Rock can be WWE champion again, so can Brock Lesnar. That's all I can say. They let Rock be a part-timer and be champion. But I don't want another part-time champion. Even though I want anyone but Cena to hold the belt. Anywho, like I said, Lesnar trashes Triple H's office. They'll probably rebuild it. But anyway, he just smashes the computer, smashes the table, trying to be extreme and send a message to Triple H for the Atlanta match. Heyman was sending the footage via satellite from, of course, Connecticut. As Heyman was blabbing his gums about, saying that I'm always the voice of reason, despite my history of being the founder of Extreme, especially EC Dub. Saying I've always been the voice of reason of Brock Lesnar and all my agents, whether it's clients. Whereas CM Punk, who's gone for a long time, at the worst time when everyone's getting injured, saying that I've always held my clients back from getting too extreme. But now I'm pleading with Brock Lesnar. I'm letting him loose. Basically, the leash that I have around Brock Lesnar, the chain's been broken. The beast has basically been unleashed. And I'm making him beat the crap out of everything in sight and making him main Triple H. Injure him. Basically beat the snot out of him at Extreme Rules in a steel cage match. As Paul Heyman was talking, here comes Triple H with his rebuttal about this situation. Saying that Lesnar thinks he's extreme. You thinking you're more extreme than me? Paul Heyman, I am extreme. I was the founder of DX. And I beat the crap out of Lesnar at Mania. If Lesnar wanted to face me like a man, he should be here right now facing me face to face. He smashed one office of mine, but there's another office that he has to step into in Extreme Rules. The office of the Square Circle. So, there you go. Like I said before, I'm trying to think this match is going to be great, but after seeing the Mania match suck, even with the no-holds-barred stipulation, the match still sucked. It's still lulled. It's still at downtime. I hope that ain't the case with this match. Despite the fact it's a steel cage match, it should be Hell in a Cell, to be honest with you, because Hell in a Cell surrounds the whole ring, not just the canvas. Like if it's Hell in a Cell, it covers the whole ring, and that means you can use weapons. But steel cage only covers the canvas. So you can't get weapons, unless Heyman tosses him through the door or something, which is probably what will happen. So, despite my hopes for probably finally a good match between these two, it's still going to suck. You saw what happened at Mania, even with the no-holds-barred stipulation, so there you go. Now on the next match, Diva Diva tag match. Basically, it was kind of like a handicap match. It turned into a handicap match, as Bellatrix teamed up with AJ against Caitlyn and the Funkadactyls. You think Bellatrix are behind the whole Caitlyn Sacred Admirer thing? Maybe they're doing it as a ploy, because they kind of high-fived after that segment involving Caitlyn and the Tex from a so-called Secret Admirer who gave her a hat last week. Anyway, basically, Bella's left AJ all alone to fend for herself against the Funkadactyls, and later got destroyed by Caitlyn, and Caitlyn pinning her #1 contender. Silly match, typical silly Divas match. Let's move on. With Mark Henry coming out, talk about a match challenge to Sheamus. Now, I mentioned my attack line today, and also my Raw preview last week, that I expected 2 matches to be made in the next couple weeks. Actually, a couple matches. AJ and Caitlyn, still not made for Extreme Rules. Mark Henry and Sheamus. Big Show and Randy Orton, still not named officially. And Fandango and Jericho, probably official after the dance-off next week. But one match I mentioned, like I said, Sheamus and Mark Henry was made official tonight. I think the stipulation should be made too, which I'll explain after the match that Sheamus had. Now, Mark Henry came out blabbing about, Sheamus getting cheap shots on him and Mark Henry beating up Sheamus because that's what he do. I love the way they were watching him, like what? And Sheamus, Mark Henry was playing with the crowd with the whats. He was like, we're not going to hold a Sheamus. What? Sheamus? What? Sheamus? What? Shut up, you puppets. I like the way Mark Henry handled the whats. I like the way he kind of toyed with the audience with the whats. It's been 10 years and Austin's been gone as a full-time wrestler, yet they still do the whats. Anywho, so Mark Henry's like, Sheamus, like I said, she challenged Sheamus to a match at Extreme Rules, which Sheamus came out to accept. And Sheamus was like, why wait to Extreme Rules? How about do the match right now? So as Sheamus and Mark Henry took out their shots, well, Sheamus had bare chest, of course, and Henry was wearing his one-piece suit, his one-piece outfit. Here comes Wade Barrett to fight off Sheamus in their match. Now, this match was pretty decent as well. Being the IC champion, Wade Barrett, I thought Miz was going to come out and make an attack because I heard Miz was supposed to return tonight. Maybe he came back during main event. Probably to commentate main event like he always does. Anywho, like I said, next match, Sheamus and Wade Barrett with Mark Henry at ringside being ignorant to Michael Cole. That was an okay matchup, for being a little bit of okay squasher. Wade Barrett did take advantage. He looked very good in this matchup. It looked like Wade Barrett was going to beat up Sheamus. And probably a little funny spot. Sheamus was really dominant on Wade Barrett in the beginning, though. He beat the crap out of Wade Barrett, including nailing the big chops and the rope. And he kind of teased Wade Barrett against Mark Henry. Like, here's Wade Barrett, Mark Henry in the chair. Mark Henry in the chair. Like, Wade Barrett was being tossed by Sheamus. Like Sheamus was like teasing, waving into Mark Henry. Mark Henry, as he was preparing for Wade to run into him, Mark Henry inadvertently fell on his chair. That was kind of a weird, funny spot, though. So Mark Henry was taken out by him falling after Sheamus pulled a joke on Mark Henry by playing with him, by toying with him, by pulling a fake on him and trying to ram Barrett into him and basically faking him out. So, where Henry laid out with that fake, Sheamus beat the crap out of Barrett some more, but indeed Barrett came flying back. Indeed, Barrett did block the bro kick. He did miss the bro kick. And Barrett did nail his big moves. He did nail the winds of chains. He did try the race land at once, but he never got to it. As Barrett he did counter the white noise, and he did duck out of the bro kick. Indeed, after he forearm to the jaw, Barrett was ready to finish off Sheamus, ready to pull the bow hammer. But as Sheamus was about to get nailed with the bow hammer, Sheamus ducked it and got the white noise on Barrett. That was, of course, the segue to the bro kick. And, of course, the bro kick was delivered by Sheamus. 1, 2, 3. As Sheamus was celebrating, Mark Henry got back up, grabbed a belt he pulled the belt right off a security guy, as he was being taken care of after being knocked down by Sheamus. Came back with the belt, started whipping Sheamus all around the ring before nailing him with a world's strongest slam outside the ring. Now, like I said, the match between Sheamus and Mark Henry is official for Extreme Rules, but I think I know what the stipulation is going to be. Some sort of match with a belt. A strap match. That's what's going to be, like a strap match. So that's my prediction. Mark Henry, Sheamus, at Extreme Rules, and a strap match. There you go. Sheamus wins, but Mark Henry gets the last one. Because that's what he do! Sexual chocolate. So why did they hear any sexual chocolate chants tonight? Only in Boston after WrestleMania. Oh, Josie! Sorry. Josie after Mania did that. Sorry, Boston. You were shit. Josie kicked your ass. Anyway, on to the main event. Right back. Taking on Kane. Two monsters head to head. Now, big monsters against each other. Doesn't matter who. Ryback. It was kind of reminds me of Mark Henry and Ryback at Mania. Kind of a slow going match. But it was okay main event. Kane was the taller of the guys. And really, he did fight well against Ryback. He did overpower Ryback at one point. But indeed, Ryback, being the number one contender for the WWE Championship, really, of course, came back and beat the crap out of the ringside area. Indeed, Kane tried his best to fight off Ryback, even tried to nail a chokeslam a few times. But Kane was going for a big clothesline. And then Ryback came back with a spine buster, ready to finish it off with the shell shot. But that's really the shell shot Kane. Shane did indeed. Kane. That is Shane. Sorry, I meant Kane. Kane indeed countered with his own little suplex. But of course, that was Kane's last bit of energy left. As Kane was indeed going for a big move, Ryback blocked it. Well, he kind of grabbed Kane off the top rope as Kane was going for a big move. Using the rope as leverage, Kane got shell-shocked by Ryback after wall. 1, 2, 3 victory for Ryback. And then Ryback, as he was celebrating in the ring, here comes the Shield. Then Daniel Bryan came in. Then Ryback went off, basically leaving Daniel Bryan to the Wolves. 3-on-1 with Kane being taken out by Ryback, trying to be playing the attack from Ryback and being beaten up in the match. I've said this before. I think Ryback is in the Shield. Like I said, Ryback, aka Skip Sheffield, was in the Nexus. What the hell? I think not Sheamus. Sorry, I keep flubbing a little bit. You should have seen me when I was watching the Kofi Kingston Usos match. I kept calling Kofi the IC champion for whatever reason. So, he is US champion. Anywho, I think Ryback's in the Shield. Anyway, Daniel Bryan, as he was ready to face off against the Shield 1-on-3, here comes Cena, injury and all, to help kind of even the odds. But it was still 2-on-3 at one point. As Ryback was watching, Cena and Bryan trying to fight off the Shield 2-on-3. But indeed, as the Shield was outnumbering Cena and Bryan, here comes I keep saying Sheamus. So like I said, forgot me. Ryback came in. I should be saying Goldberg instead of Goldberg. Ryback came in with a steel chair, clearing the Shield. And Daniel Bryan doing a big flying move on one of the Shield members, basically leaving Cena in the ring to get nailed with a steel chair by Ryback. And that's we end Raw with Cena being nailed by Ryback with a steel chair, leaving Cena helpless. I thought Ryback was going to count Cena down because it's 10 men. I thought Sheamus. Sorry, I keep saying Sheamus tonight. I don't know why I have Sheamus in the brain. But I thought Ryback, after he beat Cena up with the chair, I thought Ryback was going to say 1, 2, 3, like count Cena down for the 10 count. So that's where we end. Cena being laid out by a chair by Ryback as we end Raw with Ryback delivering a big message to Cena, heading towards their match at Extreme Rules if Cena can make it to Extreme Rules for Last Man Standing match. Ryback was the last man standing on Raw tonight, but will Cena be the last man standing or not during the pay-per-view? So there you go. Stipulation made for Extreme Rules. Ryback against Cena in a last man standing match. Sheamus against Mark Henry. I smell a strap match. And more seats planned for future matches, including Big Show, Randy Orton. I bet that match will be made official this week or next week on SmackDown or on Raw. Jericho and Fandango will be official probably next week after the dance-off between them next week on Raw. So there you go. And probably AJ Caitlyn will be official for Extreme Rules as well next week. I think AJ Caitlyn should be the pre-show. That is it for my WWE Raw review for tonight. Thank you all very much for watching. Have a great night. With that in mind, you've all been attacked by the review from Zag. See you all later. Thank you again. Yeah.